Yo, what's up traders? Welcome back. So this morning I did something a little bit different. I am doing a voiceover because I thought it would be a good idea to record on OBS live. Not really live, but obviously like as I was trading, which put a little bit of pressure on me this morning. But I'm looking for sells here. We engulfed up and then basically immediately engulfed down right there at that little level. So I was sitting here looking for sells and I'm kind of adjusting, playing with MNQ a little bit, messing around with contract sizes to see, just really to get the feel of it. And I don't think this was necessarily the best time for it. I actually got upside down. I think I was negative around 174, 175 bucks. And then I kind of was trying to read price action, and then I ended up making it back and then some, so like 70, 80 bucks for the day, but it's not necessarily clean. And I got out before my stops were hit or anything, and then I realized that I wasn't using my stops, and I was kind of setting my take profit because I do think that psychologically having a stop set can be a little bit mental. So you'll see that I closed out pretty much right here as things started to pick up, and I am getting a little bit bigger at that, but I flipped my bias right here and was like, all right, looks like we're going to go up. Maybe we just straight breaking down. We're rejecting a little bit. So I'm kind of experimenting, and I think I got up to a total of 3 contracts throughout this process. If I'm not mistaken, like I said, I'm on vacation with my family, trying to still make content and produce. And I might have, been overextending myself a little bit, but I'm actually really happy with this journal log because my bias was pretty correct. And I sped this video up. It's a 33-minute video. And when I hopped on the charts this morning, I was looking at MNQ and MES because I'm going to be really honest with you guys. MNQ is it's a volatile, like, oh, you want to put your stop right here. Oh, what you're thinking about getting out here? Let me just go and swipe everybody out. So that's actually what I realized we were doing. It looked like we were kind of swiping both sides here and there, and then building a little bit of honestly, building some shenanigans, in my opinion, because it looks like we're just kind of dancing and collecting liquidity on both sides. So you see that I'm kind of sitting here watching, my lights kind of kick on. I think my wife woke up at this point. So I stopped my toddler over in my hand. I'm sitting here looking. I'm like, all right, we're going to break to the upside right here because we're getting some volume. And we didn't quite break that previous level. So I'm sitting here and I set my take profit for up higher. This is really just to kind of give me a range to see. Mentally, I was like, if I get above and then make a little bit, because I'm trying to risk manage. And then like here, if you look on this 5 and this 15 minute, it looked a little bit cleaner. Maybe we're just coming down rejecting. But I'm also thinking we might come up and fill some of these imbalances here and these inefficiencies and take the market down lower, because if we don't go up higher at all-time highs, I was sitting here kind of thinking if we don't go up higher, then we're going to look for bearish sentiment. So at the same time, I'm looking at MES because I'm checking over back and forth and looking at both charts, which was, hindsight 2020, I really probably shouldn't be doing that right now, especially on vacation and I'm doing too much. I'm doing way too much. I'm like juggling with a chainsaw and trying to figure out a Rubik's Cube all at the same time. But I was pretty confident here with this price action, this movement, that we were trying to push up. And I was getting a little nervous because on the 50K account, I don't have a lot of capital to play with. You can't really lose a lot. So we get this little momentum right here, and I'm like, all right, I'm sizing up a little bit on my contracts, kind of looking for some movement to the upside, but I really don't want to stick around and hang out too much because it looks like we're struggling. So we kind of get to this level right here. And at one point in this trade, I did try to get out and it didn't close it. So I got a little bit later of an exit, but I think I took right there, I got out, and then like I get right back in, you see. So I'm kind of like, okay, I'm catching myself emotionally right here. I'm doing a little bit too much. And eventually on the camera, I kind of do like the cut off because I'm like, if this thing comes back down, I really don't want to be playing with it. So I get out again and I'm like, all right, let me go ahead and chill out a little bit. I can't, I'm looking. So right there, I just said, all right, this is like kind of wigging me out. I'm doing too much. I'm doing way too much right now. I'm kind of emotionally getting involved. But I wouldn't say I'm gambling so much as it might seem like it right here. I don't feel like I am. I feel like I'm still moving with price action. I'm just not confident in holding through the down. So right here, I think is where I was like, all right, I need to get out. I need to just accept that I'm up a little bit for the day. I'm not going to call this, a +1 or anything like that, even though what I usually risk, but I was way risking more than I'm used to. So that's something I really have to pay attention with MNQ. Now with MES, it was a lot cleaner. I thought we were rejecting right here, and I even took some notes. They're way fast, so if you want to pause it and look at it, I was taking notes along the way and kind of giving a play-by-play. So as you can see here, I'm typing up what I think it's doing. So if you want to pause or you want to slow down and look at that, you might see. And I was having a hard time staying off of MNQ. I'm not even going to lie to you guys. But I'm also trying to figure out this red line account, which is a little bit challenging. So as I'm putting notes, because I can't talk, I'm sitting here listening to music, messing around. I think that we're rejecting into this zone. And like at this point with MNQ, I think I'm just observing and going back. So I'm in a trade on MES and I'm going to the upside, but I ended up looking at the 15-minute chart right here and I realized that we're rejecting. So I'm almost positive I drew up this 15-minute fair value gap that we were rejecting out of here in just a second, because I can see this big old wick and I'm like, okay, I'm still paying attention to my strategy. So boom, I flipped because look, yeah, right here, I think we're rejecting right in that fair value gap. And we did have, some confluences that made sense and we're kind of down testing VWAP. So immediately it starts kicking over to the downside. And I actually felt pretty good about this. MES, I feel way more confident. I feel like it is allowing me to risk properly. I feel like I don't get emotional. I feel like I'm able to follow structure. And I held on to this trade for quite a little bit longer because for one, I'm really struggling with not being able to size up. So I go to the all-time highs here. I set, my stop loss and I'm looking to target basically that midpoint of the previous day high and low zone. And it did end up going there, and I'll go back here and put a screenshot. I was having a hard time with my ladder system because I'm risking more. Like my stop loss was $100 here, or 140 maybe even. I went above the previous highs. So that was one thing I wasn't overly thrilled about. I'm still going back to MNQ to look and kind of see what it's doing. Glad I got out. I'm glad I switched up because both actually absolutely dumped and they were correlating with one another. So I was pretty happy. But like I said, I was struggling there to get my stop lined up, and I ended up cutting off the stream. So I didn't want to sit here and record. I'm on my Mac and everybody's starting to kind of wake up and stuff. So I was like, I'm just going to hold on to this, and I did. So here's what I'll put the trades right here, and then you guys can see that. And yeah, man, I appreciate you guys being here. I know this is a little bit different than what I normally do, but I'm going to get back to the family, and much love. If you have any questions or anything, just hit me in the comments.